The day my cat became principal. It was a normal Tuesday morning, normal as in, I tripped over my untied shoelaces twice, spilled milk on my homework, and left my gym clothes at home. You know, a typical day. But things got weird, really weird, when I arrived at school. First, the principal's office door had a sign that said, "New Principal." Meow. I thought it was a joke. Some senior prank, maybe. But as I walked down the hallway, the smell of tuna wafted through the air. A big bowl of milk sat by the water fountains, and someone had shredded all the toilet paper in the bathroom. I finally made it to first period, where Mrs. Johnson, my algebra teacher, was sitting at her desk, knitting with yarn. And on her desk sat a cat. Not just any cat, my cat, Mr. Whiskers. "Why is my cat here?" I asked, pointing like a detective who just solved the case of the missing cookies. "Didn't you hear?" Mrs. Johnson said, eyes wide. "Mr. Whiskers is the new principal." I blinked. Twice. Mrs. Johnson, he's a cat. He can't even read." Mrs. Johnson chuckled. "Well, he passed the principal's aptitude test with flying colors. I'm surprised you didn't know, he got an A in fish studies." Now, I know I've had some pretty weird dreams, like that time I dreamt I was a grilled cheese sandwich, but this was pushing it. I mean, sure, Mr. Whiskers was smart. He once figured out how to open the fridge. But run a whole school? At lunchtime, things went downhill. The cafeteria was serving cat food. You heard me right. Cat food. Tuna-flavored tacos, salmon sandwiches, and milkshakes, literal milkshakes. "Oh, man," groaned my best friend, Zach. I thought middle school was bad, but I never imagined I'd be competing for lunch with a bunch of stray cats. The hallways were overrun with cats. They were everywhere, on top of lockers, curled up in the library, and one even tried to take my spot on the bus ride home. Apparently, all the new students were cats, and they got first pick of seats. But the craziest part? The teachers were acting like this was completely normal. "We must respect the diversity of our new feline students," the history teacher said, as a tabby pawed at her projector. As the day went on, it became clear that Mr. Whiskers had a plan. First, he banned all homework. Then he abolished PE. Cats don't like to sweat, apparently. By the time the final bell rang, the school had a strict nap time policy after every class. Oh, and the vending machines? Replaced with automatic fish dispensers. As I walked home, dazed, Mr. Whiskers strutted beside me, looking proud of his new title. I couldn't believe it, my cat, a principal. And the worst part? He was doing a better job than our last one. That night, as I did my non-existent homework, I realized something important. If my cat could be principal, anything was possible. Maybe tomorrow, my goldfish would teach science class. Or my dog, Sparky, would run for mayor. But until then, I had to deal with the reality that my school was now overrun by cats, and Mr. Whiskers had more power than I ever imagined. As I tucked myself into bed, I heard a faint meow from downstairs. Mr. Whiskers was sitting on the couch, wearing a tiny principal's hat. I sighed. "Good night, Principal Whiskers." And he gave me a look that clearly said, "Don't be late for class tomorrow." Moral of the story, Always keep an eye on your pets. You never know when they'll take over your school.